know most of y'all know me, but for the sake of record, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Armando Duckworth. In the streets, I go by Keefe. I'm here today to talk to y'all about basically life. It's about community, about getting yourself together, basically, and the things that I've been through and how to avoid the pitfalls of what I done did. To start, I've been in and out of jail my whole life. You name it, I've probably done it. From robbery to selling drugs, I've done it. In my life, I was a member of the Vice Lords. I chose the gang affiliation because it was a way for me to express the anger I had within myself. I loved what I was doing as far as the membership because at that time, that's where my mind was. My mind was, hey, I'm a street dude, I'm gonna live by the street rules, and anybody in my way, they get took out. And that's just what it was. And because of that attitude and that lifestyle, I ended up in prison. The first time I went to prison, I was 13. I went for home invasion, hanging with some friends, and we decided to rob a drug dealer, not knowing that the drug dealer's mother was the police. So we ran up in his house and we took the drugs. A couple of days later, everybody in the neighborhood was like, hey, the police looking for you. And I'm like, okay, nothing new. Wasn't worried about it. And one day I was at school, the one time I usually went, I was at school and the police walked in the classroom and I got arrested. And it was embarrassing because everybody in the classroom looked at me like, wow, what's going on? And it's so embarrassing to be in a classroom being put in handcuffs and have to basically play it off like, I don't know what happened, I don't know. And I got downtown, I was questioned, and because I wouldn't tell, I got convicted. I went to DT, I did about a year, I came home. During my year, I should have took that time to get my mind together, but because I was so wrapped up in the streets, I was like, this ain't nothing but a downfall. It happens, it's part of the game. I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna go back to doing what I'm doing, and I'm gonna do it better next time. And just a side note, that never works. There's no such thing as doing anything illegal better than what you did. You're eventually gonna get caught. You get a lot of people who say, oh, I'm just in the game to do this, and when I get this, I'm gonna get out. And if I had $1 for every time I heard that, I would be rich. Nobody really gets into the dope game and gets out without going to jail, without getting robbed, something of that nature. Being from the streets, we call it part of the game. But it's not a game, this is real life. Everything that you do affects you from the time you're old enough to understand right and wrong until the day you pass away from this earth.
I'm sorry, can you back up? Because you're saying 13, and I know the ages we have here now are, I have an 11-year-old here, but for the most part, we're all teenagers. So 13 from the time of birth to 13, okay, what transpired there? So how is your life from that point up to 13? Because then we can get the gist and understanding of, at 13, you went this way, but still the way between that time period.
Well, as far as my family, like my dad was there, my stepdad was there, my mother was there. I had a support system.
Right.
But growing up in the ghetto, my mother ended up using drugs. I had a lot of brothers and sisters that I felt responsible for. So for me, it was more of a life choice than I want to be out here. It was more of, I was in the mindset of, I want to help my family. And I can't say that I had a bad upbringing, but I didn't have the average upbringing. All the people in my family, when I was coming up, were in the street. Even my dad. But as I was getting older, he was transitioning out of the streets. But the things that I saw influenced me to become the person that I was. I had uncles in Chicago who ran the streets and were well known and did things, and for me, those were my role models. So it was like, okay, if I'm gonna be out here in the street, I gotta be the toughest guy out here. And the examples that I had were my uncles. So it was like, okay, my uncles got respect because they're doing this. So if I turn it up a notch, I know I'm gonna get respect, because if they respect it for what they did, if I do 2 times more or 10 times more, then I'm gonna get more respect. And in the streets, we look at respect as a means of survival. Because if nobody knows you, if nobody respects you, you become a target. And for today's youth, from what I've seen in the youth that I talk to, a lot of the youth do a lot of things out of fear of not having friends. So it's like a follower type thing. And it's not intentionally like, oh, I don't know no better, I'm a follower. It's, this is my peer group. This is the people that I relate to. These are the people going through the same things that I'm going through. So it's best for me to follow them because they understand. And with that mind state, we end up getting in trouble because those same friends that we think understand us don't understand themselves, because they're going through the same things we're going through. So it's basically the blind leading the blind, you know. And I didn't realize that. I'm 39 years old now. It took me until I was 38 to realize, like, wait a minute, you've been doing the same thing your whole life. You keep getting the same results. Even when you tweak it and say, oh, I'm gonna be better this time, or this time I'm gonna be more sneaky, or this time I'm gonna be more careful of who I deal with and the way I deal with them. Even when you do that, you set yourself up for failure. Because nothing that you do built on wrong lasts as long. It's not gonna happen. You know, you get a lot of people, oh, well, I sold drugs and I bought a house, or I sold drugs and I own this. But when the feds come, you lose it all. You go to jail, you lose it all, you're back at point A. And it took me a long time to realize that, because for me, when things would happen, it would be like, oh, that's part of the game. I made a mistake, I slipped, I got caught, deal with it, refine it, get better the next time. And every time I ended up in jail, And they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So for the most part, hey, I was crazy, I was insane, because in my head, I was telling myself, I'm gonna get away next time, because this time I learned what not to do. And then once I got caught again, it was like, okay, maybe I'm not good at robbery, so let's try selling drugs. And I sold drugs. And then I got caught, and I'm like, okay, it happens. And everything was an excuse. It happens, or if this person wouldn't have told on me, or if I wouldn't have been here at this time, next time I'm gonna play it smarter. Next time I'm not gonna put people in my business. But no matter what you're doing in the streets, if you're building a reputation, somebody knows who you are. So a lot of people are proud to be, oh, I'm a robber, and everybody knows me as being a robber. Not knowing that you're putting a target on your back. You're painting yourself to be taken out. Because I've been shot twice for the things that I've done. From gangbanging to robbery. It's people probably still out here now who, when they see me, they like, that's dude. Or I remember when. And it's hard once you build a reputation for yourself in the streets to get away from that reputation. Because people don't forget. You know, they have the saying, oh, I forgive, but I don't forget. In this generation, this way the world works now, they're doing neither. So just being a part of that lifestyle, no matter what age it is, puts you in a position to lose your life or end up in prison. Because certain crimes don't have a statute of limitation. So, for example, murder, no statute of limitation. So you can kill somebody when you're 13, 14, and here it is, you're 45, 50, and they found some evidence, and now you're going to jail for the rest of your life for something you did when you didn't know what life was or what you wanted out of life. And I've been in positions to see my best friends get killed, best friends doing life in prison. One of my best friends is doing 217 years, and he's 20. So you do the math. He's never walking out of prison again. He's 20. Whole life is over because of a decision. We say, oh, I made a mistake, or I made a poor choice, or I wasn't thinking. None of that really matters once you get arrested and you're in that court system. It's easy to get out of trouble if you stay out of trouble. People say, oh, well, if I do this, then I can't get in trouble. or I'm too young to go to jail. Wisconsin, 10 years old, you can be charged as an adult. So at 10 years old, they can put you in jail for the rest of your life, depending on your crimes. And it's not worth it. Like, we go out of our way to make friends. And we use this term, friends, loosely. Oh, my friend so-and-so. Okay, what do you know about this person? Oh, his name's so-and-so. Who is his mama? I don't know. Where he live? I don't know. But this is somebody that you chose to put your life in their hands. When you hang out with somebody, good or bad, they don't have to be a bad influence. It could be a person from this church. Whoever you hang with, you put your life in their hands. Because when you're around a person, you don't know what they've done from their past. And if you do, and you know, like, okay, in the past, this person was this way, you don't know what the people they've done things to are thinking. So you're in danger. It goes back to that old saying, oh, I forgive, but I don't forget. Once again, some people do neither. So you're in a situation where, based on the company you keep, your life is in danger. Even me, now, I don't like going certain places with my family because I fear that something that I did could get them hurt. Because I know when I was out here, I wasn't thinking about my family. I wasn't thinking about my future. It was just live for the moment, right then, right there, instant gratification. And a lot of us do that, especially in y'all age range. It's, oh, I see that, I want it. Or that person right there, I want that person. Or I want to go to this place. And as adults, our parents look at us and they're like, oh no, that's not safe. You can't do that. Don't go here. This is what's going to happen. And I know from experience, my dad used to do that. No, you can't go here. You're going to do this. And in my head, it's like, why is he trying to run my life? I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. But I didn't. But at that age, 14, 15, 16, you think you know it all. So in your mind, it's like, oh, they old school. They ain't been through what I've been through. The times was different back then. And really nothing has changed except for the people. It's always been robbers. It's always been drug dealers. It's always been churches. It's always been gang members. Only thing that has changed is the people and the way that things are ran. As far as back when I was coming up, in the gangs, we had structure. There were rules. You couldn't hurt a woman. You couldn't hurt a child. You couldn't sell drugs in your neighborhood. You couldn't do certain things because you were a part of a gang or organization, whatever you want to call it, who set rules for you. And a lot of us, including me, don't like rules. We don't like when our parents say, oh, you got to take out the garbage. You got to shovel the snow, clean your room. But if you look at it, your whole life is somebody telling you what to do, whether you want to or not. From the government to your teachers, and if you're getting in trouble, to the COs and the police and the judges. So for those of y'all who are like, I don't want nobody telling me what to do with my life, deal with it. You're going to have people telling you what to do with your life until the day you die. There's no way around it. None. I've tried every way possible you can think of it. Oh, I'm going to isolate myself. You isolate yourself and you're by yourself and you still got rules because society has rules. You can stay away from everybody. But the rule is, hey, you can't jaywalk. So if you're jaywalking, the police stop you, how can you get mad? A judge once told me, I was in court, and I told the judge, like, society did this to me. It's society's fault I'm this way. And the judge said, tell me how society did this to you. I said, well, society didn't give me a chance to become a better person. And he said, society doesn't decide whether you become a better person. You do. So don't blame somebody for your actions. And when he said it, in my head, I'm like, oh, he the judge. He just saying that because he wants the law to be right when they're wrong. And in hindsight, looking at it, it was like I committed a crime. I'm sitting in court. His job is to pass judgment, and whatever he says, that's what it is, until further notice. So how can you get mad when you put yourself in a position to have someone dictate your life? People always say, well, I just want to have fun. Nothing wrong with having fun. Nothing at all. I'm all for it. Have fun. It's the type of fun that you decide to have. For me, having fun back then was, riding around, smoking weed, carrying guns, hanging with my gang-banging friends, and if it came down to it, hey, we ride on some other people in another neighborhood we didn't like, and whatever happened in that situation, that's what happened. Never thinking, hey, today could be my last day on earth. I could go over here and somebody 10 times better than me waiting on me, and now my life is gone because I decided, hey, I don't like this person, so I'm gonna do something about it. When in actuality, I didn't have a reason not to like this person other than they decided to be in a gang that I decided not to be in, which was stupid because you're taking a life because someone made a decision you didn't like. If you went around killing or hurting every person who made a decision you didn't like, your whole life will be spent hurting and killing people who made decisions you didn't like. Because I can guarantee you, today, somebody made a decision for you you didn't like. My PO made a decision for me on a Saturday. Hey, on Saturday, when you go do this speaking, make sure that when you record it, I get a copy. No problem. I don't have a problem doing that because I want many people to see it. But in my head, it was like, who said I wanted to do that? Maybe I wanted to go another way. But because of the decisions I made, I gave somebody the power over my life. So I can't do it my way. Because doing it my way led me to prison. It led me to being shot. It led to a lot of disappointments, not only from my family, but from myself. Because we all have goals. At 13, I told myself I was going to be one of the greatest rappers in history. Here it is, 39 years old, fresh out of prison again. Nothing accomplished because my mind was, if I do it from the street aspect, then it looks good. Because in my head it was, I'm from the streets because that's where I put myself. I made a reputation in the streets, so if I keep it in the streets, people will respect me. But then I had to think about it. The same people in the streets that I'm searching for that respect from are the same people who, if I get too much respect, they're going to want to take me out because by taking me out, they get the props for it. Oh, you got to him? Oh, yeah, you the guy, you the man. And that's what we search for. We search for recognition. We search for validation. And there's nothing wrong with it based on how you do it. If you're seeking validation from your family, hey, look, I'm doing this and I need to know how to get here. That's cool. But if you're seeking validation from people who don't have your best interests in mind, then you're already setting yourself up for failure. And what I mean by those who don't have your best interests in mind, I got friends like that. Everybody does. You have that friend who you're like, hey, I'm going to sign up for the basketball team. And instead of saying, hey, yeah, you a good basketball player, go ahead. Oh man, why you want to be on the basketball team, all them squares? You ain't gonna be able to hang out in the hood and kick it and do this and do that. And right then and there, that's that red light. Like, you don't want what's good for me. You want me to be where you're at. It's called the crabs in a bucket mentality. And what that is basically, if I'm doing better than you, and you see it, you're like, you know what? I gotta do something to get him on my level. Or how can I get to his level? But you're not doing it with the mind state of, I wanna be like him. You're doing it with the mind state of, I wanna take what he has and I wanna be better than him. So it's like, I'm not letting nobody succeed unless I can succeed too. And with that mind state, we miss a lot of blessings because that one person who makes it can reach back and bring you. You know, there's a lot of people who told me throughout my time going to prison and doing certain things like, man, you got a calling on your life and you don't even see it. You know, I got an old school friend, Mr. Tyrone Ill, and we sat down during one of my bids and I came across him like 4 times going in and out of prison. And one day he seen me and he's like, man, you keep coming back and forth to prison. You must like it here. And I'm like, man, I don't like being told when to eat, when to sleep, who I gotta talk to, when I can talk to, how long. And he was like, but you keep coming back. And I'm like, man, it just happened. He was like, nothing in life just happens. There's no such thing as it just happens. Everything that happens, it happens for a reason and it happens because of your actions. Even the things that you don't think happen because of your actions. You know, you get a lot of people, oh, the innocent bystander got shot, they were sitting in their house. True, that happens. But if you're seeing someone fight and you decide to stand there and watch this fight and bullets fly and you get hit, you're not an innocent bystander. You're someone who got hit because you were being nosy. You put yourself in a position to get yourself hurt by putting yourself in someone else's business. So I said that to say, when you make your friends, what you're doing is you're putting people in your business. You get a friend, they come to your house. Oh, this is a nice house, man. They all in your room, they watching they playing your video games, they watching your TV. 2 days later, your house get hit and all your stuff gone. And in your head, you won't connect it to your friend because that's your friend, or so you thought. You only know what people show you. And I fell for it plenty of times. It's plenty of times that, oh, this my guy, he cool, we gonna ride, it's that, it's this, we ace on coons. And then something go down and it's like, oh, Mondo told me to do it. He the one that had the gun. He the one that, because it's self-preservation. And what that is I'm more important than everybody around me. So if it comes to me or them, it's always gonna be them. And we fail to see that. Like, we don't want to see it because truth hurts. You think, and most people think, because I used to think this way, if you're my friend, I'm loyal to you to no end. That means if I gotta take a bullet for you, that's what it is. If I gotta take a case for you, that's what it is. That's the street sense of loyalty. But that doesn't exist. It's something that we made up in our head to make what we seem to do right. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm out here selling drugs. I got all my guys with me. They not gonna let nothing happen to me. If I go to jail, they'll bail me out. They'll put the money on my books if I get sentenced. And then it happens, and you get on the phone and there's no money on the phone. You ain't getting no visits, and you're like, these the same people that I was with every day, 24/7, taking these prison chances with, risking my life with, or for. And now here I sit when I need them. Where they at? And then you make excuses for them because you don't want the truth to come to you. So you're blocking yourself from the truth. So instead of being like, you know what? They really didn't care about me. They used me for what they could get while I was out there. Or they only care about me when I'm out there and they can get something from me. You tell yourself, oh, well, life goes on. Maybe they busy. Or, I know they hustling. They doing the same thing I'm doing. So it's whatever excuse you can make to make that person right, because to you, they're your friend and you're being loyal. So you don't want to see the downside to that person. I've had my brothers and sisters tell me, like, bro, you were an example. And at first, it was like, oh, I was? And then they're like, yeah, of what not to do. And it's like, wait, am I supposed to be happy or am I supposed to be bad? Because now, it's like, I'm glad that you used what I was doing wrong to keep yourself out of it. But at the same time, you're looking at it like, man, my family looked at me as, I don't want to be him. So if your family looking at you as, I don't want to be him, what do you think of people in the street that you call your friends looking at you like? And they say birds of a feather flock together. Not true in every instinct. Because I got friends who don't run the streets. They, what we call squares. But they stay out of trouble, but they hang with the street people. And the problem with that is, yeah, they're your friends, but and I'm using me. When I was in the streets, if I had a problem with you, I don't care that your friend ain't involved in that problem. He with you. So 9 times out of 10, whatever you about, he about. So now you're both victims. You're both targets. Because one of y'all made a choice to do something, and the other one made a choice to hang with that person. So it's like, oh, I can hang with my friends. I ain't doing what they doing. But nobody looks at that when, as we say, the drama on. So if I get into a fight with you, Malachi, and I see Victoria with you, I'm not thinking, hey, Victoria ain't part of this. She with you, so she part of it. So whatever I do to you, I got to do to her because I'm not going to leave any witnesses. And that's how we go in the street. So people will be sitting with their friends in the car talking about whatever. And then somebody walks up on the car and they're both dead. And the people, what happened? What happened? Well, Johnny was robbing people and Bobby was Johnny's friend. So when they caught Johnny, they killed Bobby too. And it's messed up, but that's how it goes. That's part of the streets. And it's sad to say, but it's become so natural to us who are in the street that it doesn't hurt anymore. It's like, oh, so-and-so got killed. Oh man, that's messed up. Who killed him? Because 9 times out of 10, when it happens like that, it's somebody you know. Because in the streets, if you're part of the streets and you're playing the streets and you live in that life, you set yourself up to have specific people in your circle for specific reasons. So you might have one person who, oh, I only use him to get my guns. I only use this person to get my drugs. I only use this person for this. All those people that you involved in your life now have some part of you. And it's crazy because none of us look at the person I hang with has a part of me. And you might not think that's true, but think about it like this. You're walking down the street with your friend. You're having a conversation. They're your friend because y'all got something in common. Nobody makes a friend they have nothing in common with. So you're walking down the street with your friend. You're having a conversation. Your friend decides, hey, because the type of person I am is I see something I like, I go and get it no matter the consequences. You walking with them, they steal a coat because this is your friend. You're not going to say, and anybody that says, yes, I am, you're lying. It's just what it is. You're lying. Because this is your friend, and you don't want to seem like the eyeball. You don't want to be the square one. So your friend beats this person up, steals this coat, and instead of you saying, hey, I ain't with that, I'm out of here, it's like, well, it's already done. I'm going to stay around. You just made yourself an accessory. So now when they get arrested, you get arrested too because you were there, you did nothing to stop it. And for most of us, we have this, that ain't my business, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. The law don't look at it like that. It's been times where I've just been in the car with somebody who had drugs on them. And because we're both in the car and it's drugs, and we're not telling on each other, oh man, we don't know how I get in. Okay, y'all don't know, both of y'all going to jail. And for me, the consequences were worse because I was on paper and my guy wasn't. So he goes to jail, somebody can bail him out. I go to jail, I gotta sit there until someone who has control over my life decides to say, you know what, you sat long enough, you can go, or there's not enough evidence to hold you, you can go. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't. When it don't, you're sitting back in jail, in a cell, around people that you don't like, don't know, and you telling yourself, man, only if I would've, if I could've, and it's too late. I'm a product of the if I. I said that every time I got out of jail. If I wouldn't have hung with so-and-so, I wouldn't have went to jail. If I would have stayed in the house, I would have went to jail. If I would have did this, I would have. But it's all too late because you did it. It's there. And there's no such thing as, oh, I ain't got to deal with it. You going to deal with it or it's going to deal with you. You know, I've been on the run. Oh, I go on the run. They ain't going to catch me. I was on the run for 2 years. Bouncing from state to state, getting wrapped up in more mess because, as they say, it's not about where you're at, it's about you because you take you wherever you go. So you can be in Milwaukee like, man, if I get out of Milwaukee, everything will be okay. And then you leave Milwaukee and you go somewhere else and it's messed up there. Man, if I go back to Milwaukee, it's going to be messed up, but it's messed up here, so I'm going to go this place. And you don't stop to think, wait, everywhere I go, something messed up. The common denominator is me. It ain't the places, it's me, because I go wherever I take myself. So if you're not changing your mentality, which is the way you think, if you're not changing the way you think, the way you look at life, you're going to get the same results. So if you look at life as a game and it's, oh, life is all fun, and you're not serious about anything, you're not going to succeed because everything's a game, everything's a joke. And then you end up in my position where you're 39 years old, fresh out of prison, trying to get yourself together, and at the same time, trying to avoid the pitfalls of going back because it's easy. It's easy to go back, especially when you're on paper. When you're on probation, a simple phone call. Anybody in this room right now, I'm sitting here, I'm on camera, but any one of you guys can get up, go in that hallway, get on your phone, and say, hey, Duckworth just did this. And it could be the most, Duckworth stole my car, crashed into a building, ran, came back, took the car, and parked it back where it was. They know that makes no sense, but because you said it and I'm on paper, they're gonna call me and be like, hey, you need to turn yourself in until we get this figured out. And by me turning myself in, it puts me back at point A. Because now I sit here, wait for them to figure it out, and in that time, I've probably lost my job. So now I don't have any income. And for me, income was one of the biggest reasons I went to prison. I like money. I like spending money. I like to do what I like to do. So my mind state was, anything I have to do to get money, that's what it is. Whether it be legal or illegal. Most of the time it was illegal because my mind, as messed up as it is, clicks towards it illegal. It automatically takes me there because I made the dumb decision to put myself in a position to teach myself, hey, learn the streets inside and out. The better you learn the streets, the more you'll survive. And with that mentality, it was like, okay, there's multiple assets or aspects to the game, that's what we call living in the streets. It's a game. And if you notice that word game, it's like, oh, I can reset, I can restart, I can do this and not worry about it. It's just a game. And it's not. And I had to get that through my head because I had that bag. Oh man, I'm just playing the game. People call me, what you doing? Man, living life, playing the game for how I go, trying to get in where I fit in. You know, all the little cliches we say and really don't understand what they mean. When you tell somebody you're trying to get in where you fit in, that means you're trying to find that space. I'm trying to find somewhere where I can get in and say, this is where I'm comfortable. This is what I want to do. And most times when you're in the street mind, the things that you want to do are the streets. I want to smoke weed. I want to drink. I want to go out to the club. I want to sell dope. I want to hang in the neighborhoods. I want to do this. I want to do that. And all those things lead you to prison or death. Like I said, I've been shot twice. I got shot one time, gang nonsense. And I was the smart one in that situation and still got shot. Because I seen it coming because I played the streets. I know, hey, I'm on the south side. And if you're in the streets, you're supposed to know what areas you can go in and be safe and what areas you can't. Because when you're in the streets, if you're really out here and you're not a wannabe, as we call them, there are certain places you can and can't go. Because if you go to certain places, you're in danger. And I'm not even in the streets no more. But because of my past, there are certain places that when I go past, I'm like, oh, okay, let me make sure I can make it through here safely. There are certain places that I just refuse to go. Hey, not going over there. We're not going to make it out of there. If we go there, not going. So you have to become aware of, hey, this choice that I made led to this. Because we have this habit, and I had it bad. Everything was somebody else's fault. Oh, John got me in trouble because if he wouldn't have told, we would have got away with the robbery. No, if you wouldn't have went on the robbery in the first place, you wouldn't have to worry about the police coming for you. You wouldn't have to worry about somebody telling on you because if you don't do it, they can't tell on you for it because you didn't do it. But I didn't have that in my head. What I had in my head was, hey, we're all criminals and there's honor amongst thieves. Not true, but hey, that's what we think. It's honor amongst thieves. This is as we used to say, this is this thing of ours. The mafia used to say that, this thing of ours. And I had that bag. Like I said, I was a vice lord, so when I was around my people, hey, this little thing of ours, we need to expand it over here. We need to do this. And one of we call them OGs, it's somebody who's over you when you're in the streets. One of my OGs sat me down. He got his life together. And he sat me down and he's like, you do so much to do nothing. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He said, you got all these guys out here in the streets that you can make a call and they'll pull up and they ready to shoot something. They ready to die for you. They ready to go to jail for you. Whatever you ask them, they willing to do. He said, but you can't call those same people. And this is a living example. The same people that I could call right now on some nonsense and be like, hey, I'm on this street and these guys just did this. We need to shoot at them. They would be here in a minute. I could pick up my phone and they would be here pulling up, not caring that this is my dad's church, not caring that there's kids in here. They'll pull up like, you called us, you said there's drama. Where is it? But those same people I called today and weeks before, hey, I'm speaking to the youth here. Get here. Oh man, I can't. Oh man, I'm doing this. Oh man,
And don't get me wrong, I understand people have lives, but it goes to show you that loyalty. Because, like I said, they all for it when it's nonsense. You know, we have this saying, we with it. That's the only way I can say it in the church, but we with it. Meaning that whatever you about, we can get on that. I'm on this. I'm trying to keep y'all from going where I've been, from doing what I've done. I tried to get some of my guys from the hood to come here and say, hey, look, we did it. Been there, done that. Everything y'all trying to do, everything y'all gonna do, been there, done it, seen the consequences. And I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, it's all bad when you're in the streets. It's not. You have fun. I'm talking about you spend the money when you're selling drugs and you're doing it good. Oh, you get the nice cars, you get all the women, everybody want to be around you. You get shot out when you walk in the club. Oh, kid in the club. Hey, Keefe Street up in here. So-and-so up in here. But when you broke, those same people, you call them, hey man, look, I'm broke. I need $10 so I can get this bus pass. I'm trying to get me a job. Oh man, I ain't got it. But let you get that money again. They right there. Hey man, let's go pop some bottles. Let's go throw some money at these strippers. But you can't call them and be like, hey, I need a ride to this job interview. Because to them, it's job. The streets is our job. Because that's how we look at it. We wake up in the morning like most people do for a job. Some people get up at 6 in the morning, start getting ready for work. When I was in the streets, I got up at 6 in the morning. If I wasn't walking in the house at 6 in the morning, got up, bagged up my drugs, got my gun, and out the door I went. Because to me, that was like a uniform for my job. And then I realized, if I can do all this, why can't I get a job? And then it was like, I don't want to work for nobody else. I want to work for myself. Because I don't want nobody paying me. I'm making these companies all this money and I'm only getting paid. And then I thought about it. Every time you go to jail, you get you a job in the kitchen, you get you a job in the laundry, and they paying you 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents an hour. You do the math. Let's just say on the high end, 25 cents an hour. You work 8 hours a day. So 25 cents, you say 25 times 8. It's like $21, $22 every 2 weeks. But then, because you decided to be a dummy and you sitting in jail, you got court calls, you got restitution. If you got kids and your baby mama don't like you, you got child support. So now you get $22 every week. So that's $44 a month. And out of that, they take in 50% for your court costs. They take in 20% for your restitution. They take in 10% because they just took it. Oh, and we gonna put 5% on your release account so that when you get out, you don't get out broke. Now, honestly, it all depends on how much time you do. When I did my 10-year bid, I came home with like $1,000, $2,000. But I thought about it. I did 10 years in prison and came home with $2,000. So if you do the math, just divide it. You made like $10 a day for 10 years, if that, or $2 a day for 10 years or something like that. So you weigh, would I rather sit out here and make $8 an hour on the low end or go to prison and make 25 cents? It shouldn't even be a thought in your head. But it's messed up because when you come from a place that I come from, in your head it's like, and we call it throwing bricks at the prison. It's like, hey, whatever happened, it's meant to happen. If I get caught, it was meant for me to get caught. No one goes out committing a crime saying, oh, I'm gonna get caught when I do this. Because if you had it in your head that you were gonna get caught, why would you go do it? That's like, oh, if I rob this person in front of the police station, I'm not gonna get caught. You're in front of the police station. How you not gonna get caught? It's cameras, it's police in and out the building, there's people. You're gonna get caught. And you have those instances where you don't get caught. Because I've done some stuff and I got away and I'm like, wait a minute, I just got away with that. And there's this saying, And my grandmother, God rest her soul, she used to always say, God look out for children and fools, and you ain't no child. Okay, wait. That means I'm the fool. And then you gotta look, what makes me the fool? And it goes back to that definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting to get a different result. That's like going to buy all black clothes, put them in your closet, and then wake up and say, today I'm gonna wear blue. If you got all black clothes in your closet, how you gonna wear blue? It's simple. Like, a lot of people, especially adults, they make things hard. It's like, do it this way because. And most times when it's an adult, it's because I said so. Or because I'm gonna kick your butt if you don't. Most times, especially like for me, I was hard-headed. That didn't too much work. Okay, you gonna whoop me. I'm in the streets. I get shot at. I get chased by police. You whooping me ain't gonna change what I'm doing. And for some people, whoopings work. Hey, I don't want to get hit, so I'm not doing that. But for some of us, whoopings is like, that's all you got. So you have to put yourself in a position to discipline yourself. Hey, I don't want this in my life. So because I don't want this in my life, I'm not going to make this decision. Even if you don't look at it, that's discipline. If you tell yourself, I'm not going to do something because I know doing this will lead to here and I don't want it, you just disciplined yourself from doing something. Discipline is simple. You're going to have it in your life one way or the other. Whether it's from your parents, from yourself, from the prison guards, from the judge, from somebody. Because I used to always say to myself, ain't nobody gonna run my life, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. Not my parents, not the courts, not, and then the judge was like, go do 10 years. And I was like, I ain't gonna do no 10 years. And then the lawyer looked at me and said, how you not gonna do 10 years? You're in cuffs, the police are right there. How you getting out of here? And that's when it hit me like, I really don't have no control. I really just gave control of my life over to some people I've never seen in my life. I basically just gave somebody I've never met the control to say, hey, for the next 10 years of your life, you're going to be in this place doing this, or we keep you on. Because everybody says, and I said, oh man, when I get in there, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do, and I'm gonna punch people, and I'm gonna do this, and I did it. And they got a place for you. It's called the hole, segregation. And technically, it's just another cell by yourself away from people. And some people be like, oh, that ain't nothing, it's just another cell, because that was my mentality. Until they put you in there for 3-4 years where you're doing 23 and 1. You think about this. It's 24 hours in a day. You're in a room for 23 of them. Your hour out includes your shower, your phone calls, your TV, if they give you a TV down in the hole, depending on where you're at. So you say TV show that you want to watch, half an hour. Phone calls, 15 minutes. That's 45 minutes right there. You still got your shower. You still got to get your mail out, write your letters, all that. So your hour is up. And then you're back in your room for 23 hours. And somebody's coming to your door like, hey, eat this. And if you don't like it, like for me, I don't eat pork. It's a lot of stuff I don't eat, but pork is one of the main things I don't eat. And in some prisons, it's like, hey, it's pork, eat it or starve, your choice. If you got money on your books, yeah, you can buy stuff off Canteen. But when you look at it, depending on your position, like in mine, people got tired of sending me money. They like, dude, you in jail like every other day. Like you get out, you out for a day or a year, and then you go back. And it's messed up because that became a revolving door frame of my life. My life was, I go to jail, I get out, I talk this good talk about how I'm gonna change, how I'm gonna be different, how I'm not going back, and then I sit around and I get in trouble and I go back, and then I try to blame it on somebody else. Oh man, I was doing good until I started messing with so-and-so. Yeah, but who decided to start messing with so-and-so? They didn't come to your door and say, hey, if you don't mess with me, I'm gonna kill you. If you don't mess with me, we gonna burn your house down. You decided, hey, these my people, after they showed you they wasn't, These my people. I'm gonna go mess with them. And then you go back to where you just came from, and it's, man, now I'm back in prison. Yeah, because you made the stupid decision to go hang with somebody who got you sent to prison in the first place, didn't look out for you, and you still messing with them. And a lot of people, and I know, 14, 15, when my parents was trying to tell me this, I did not want to hear none of that. Because my mind state was, y'all old, y'all out of time, y'all don't know what y'all talking about, the game is different, I'm gonna run it different, it's gonna be different, the outcome gonna be different, and here I am right now going, man, it ended up the same way they said it was gonna end up. And it's crazy because every generation do it. And what happens is, it gets worse. Like my generation was Generation X. Technically what X meant was, y'all the last generation. Y'all so bad that the world is gonna end because y'all gonna destroy it. And then the next generation came. And we was like, man, I remember when we used to do that, but these kids, they wild. And it's crazy because you have people my age, 39, 40, going, man, these kids these days is crazy. And it's a repeat of history because the generation before us said the same thing about us. Like, man, these kids crazy. They don't care about nothing. They ain't got no sense of life. They just doing what they want to do. And then here it is. Next generation come along, and we saying the same thing. Man, these kids nowadays, and it's crazy because how can you be mad that these kids are out here doing this stuff when you set the example for them to do it? You can't get mad. If I teach you, Malachi, if I teach you every day, Malachi, every day I tell you the same thing. When you get up, the first thing you do is punch the first person you see. And I tell you this every day. So every day you get up and punch the first person you see. And then one day I come to you and I'm like, hey, Malachi, stop punching the first person you see. What happens, or what happened for me is, you get so programmed into doing something that when it's told to you like, hey, that's wrong, don't do it, you get offended. What you mean that's wrong? I've been doing that my whole life. If it was wrong, I wouldn't be doing it. And it's messed up because we say that not understanding, or we understand and we just don't see it. Because it's the old saying, I've been doing wrong so long that it seems right. And it's crazy because when wrong becomes to seem right, you don't care. So your mother can tell you, hey, taking that stuff from that person is wrong. But your mind state has become, no, it's not, because I need it. If I didn't need it, I wouldn't be taking it from them. So it's not wrong that I'm taking it because I need it. It's not like I'm taking stuff I don't need, when in all actuality, the taking in itself is what's wrong. If you want something, you work for it. And I hate it when people used to tell me that whatever you want, you got to work for it in life. Because my mind state was, why work for it when I can wait for somebody else to get it and then take it from them? And unfortunately, what happens with that is, either you go to jail or you get killed. Or you get the in-between, as I call it, where you get shot, you're close to death, and then you go to prison. So it's like, hey, all in one, I just faced death, caught a case, and now I'm in prison. You know, in prison, we have this thing called the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday rule. And what that is you get arrested on Monday. You go to court on Tuesday. On Wednesday, you're sentenced already. They're like, hey, we're going to fast track you, get you up out of here. And you're not a person, you're a number and you're paper. Oh, we don't know this person's background other than what they told us. But because of what they told us, we're going to make a decision on what we do with them. My criminal record is 32 pages long. Now, I'm 39 years old. So you think about it like this. I'm 39 years old. In 2006, I went to prison for 10 years. I got out, was out for like 6 months to a year, went back for 2. So just those cases right there, that's 12 years. I have 32 something cases, and I'm 39. So that's basically a case for every year of my life. So every year, basically, I caught a case, or every year I was in prison. I was telling my brother yesterday, I ain't gonna say nothing. And I brought it up to my PO, even though I said I wasn't gonna say nothing, because I was curious. I told my brother, man, I got 2 DOC numbers. That's unusual. They don't use my old DOC number. I've been getting arrested since I was 13. My DOC number is a 1 something. But the one that they give me is a 4 something. And what that is it tells you what person you are to go into prison. So your ID, my ID number was 418846. That means that I was the 4,001,866 person to go into a Wisconsin state prison. So think about this. That was in 2006. Well, technically I got my number in 2001. So that was 2001. So 18 years later, the numbers are up to 8, 7, 8. And it's crazy because at first it was a majority of men going to prison. The statistics now is it's more women going to prison than men. And I sat back and I thought about that. Why is there so many women going to prison? Because ain't no men left out here because all the men are in prison. So the woman has to play the mother, the father, the uncle, the brother, and every other male influence because all of them are in prison. And it's not, and a lot of people, oh, they in prison because they was doing crimes. Yeah, true. But some of those people were committing those crimes because in their head it was, this is the only way I have to take care of my family. This is the only way I have to survive. And just speaking of our culture, we've been enslaved for 400, 500 years. And I ain't talking about our ancestors. I'm talking us. Because, and it's not the white man. We enslaved ourselves mentally because we're so busy following trends. We're so busy trying to impress others that we fail to stop and say, what about me? What do I need? And some people, oh, it's selfish. That's selfish. No, it's not. Because if you got sisters, you got brothers, you got aunties, and like for me, I'm the oldest out of all my brothers, all my sisters. I was supposed to be the example. The good one, not the, I want to be like bro example. I was supposed to be the example of, hey, that's big bro. Do what he doing. He doing good. What's crazy is my example is my little brother. I was in prison and they was telling me, oh, your little brother, he doing this, he doing that. And I'm like, man, I should have been with little bro. Because if I was with him, I wouldn't have been in prison. Because one thing I know, as much as we get into it, as much as we hang out and do what we do, none of them want to see me in prison. None of them want to see me out here doing bad. And it's the same for me. I don't want to see none of my brothers in prison. I don't want to see none of my brothers doing bad. But when you're the oldest and you're the example, they got 2 ways to take it. Either they're going to follow your path because you big bro, you the example, or they're going to be like, I'm not following that example because big bro doing some dumb, and I don't want to be part of that. And it's messed up when you have family who don't want to be a part of your life because of the decisions you chose to make. And some people, I don't care if nobody mess with me. I don't care. I used to be like that. I don't care who messed with me. I don't care. Until you get into a position where it's like, man, I need somebody. I ain't got nobody to talk to. I got some stuff on my chest. I can't let it off. But don't nobody talk to me because of the decisions I made. Don't nobody deal with me because they don't want to put themselves in a position to get emotionally attached, to get, what's the word I'm looking for? To get attached to the point where it's like, hey, there, and then you disappear. Because just because you're family, don't mean you're attached. You can be my family because I got family members that I don't deal with. I just don't. I got family members that if I seen them on the streets, as bad as it sounds, I would walk past them and act like they didn't exist. And the reason that is because I know they don't have my best interests in mind. And they'll tell you, if you ain't on what I'm on, don't be around me. ain't about selling dope, don't be around me. You ain't about carrying this pistol, don't be around me. And I used to be like that. If you ain't on what I'm on, don't be around me. So it was like, you ain't selling dope, I don't want to be around you, because if I'm selling dope and you don't, and we get caught, you're going to tell, because you're not about that life. Now, it's like, you know who I want to be around? I want to be around people like my dad. I want to be around people like my brother. People who are out here trying to do something to make a way, but not in the way. Something that's not going to get you arrested. Something that you ain't got to look over your shoulders and be like, man, I hope they don't come for me now. With that being said, I'm going to end on this note. I want everybody in here to look at the person around them. Just look and think of this. Every decision you make affects one of them. So if you decide to walk out this building today and say, you know what? Heard what he had to say? Don't care. That's cool with me. You ain't got to care about what I said. You ain't got to care about me. But when you make that choice to do something that I told you, hey, this is what's going to happen. When it happened, don't go back into child mode. Because when you make your decisions, you in grown mode. Don't go back to child mode and call mama, call daddy. Hey, come get me out of jail. Or come get me because these people did this. Because you made that decision. My dad told me this. When you make a decision, deal with the consequences. Because you made that decision. No matter who it affects, you made that decision. So when y'all looked at the people around y'all, just think about this. Every decision I make affects one of them. And what that means is, if you go to prison, yeah, it hurts you. You're the one doing the time. But Miss Renee might be the one that got to send you the money. The bishop might be the one that got to put the money on your phone or come visit you for your spiritual counseling. You made them do things that they didn't have intentions of doing because of your decisions. Think about that. I thank y'all for giving me y'all time. Anybody got any questions? And you look like you want to ask me something. So, if there are no questions,
Quick question.
I'm listening.
All the information you just shared with your audience, what could you give them to let them see that you no longer in what you just talked about?
The only way I can show is by example. What I'm doing now is where my heart is. I didn't have to be here today. I could have been somewhere laid up, watching videos, talking to some female, doing whatever I wanted to do. But I chose to come here because I know that if I don't, then I can always tell myself if something happened to one of them. Only if I would have said. Only if I would have. But now that I'm doing it, if something happened, I don't feel bad because I told you this is what's going to happen. Just like it was told to me. Can't feel bad if you put yourself in that position.
So if a person preach and teach, then they ought to follow by an example. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
Any more questions? Since there are no more questions, I gave y'all forms earlier to fill out. You know, those forms are basically for me to better myself and what I'm trying to do. So be honest. Don't be, oh, that's uncle, that's cuz, be honest. So I thank y'all for y'all time. Have a good day.